must not play with God, okay? And we need to be obedient to the Lord, okay? And just know that God is the highest power. There's no power higher than the Lord. Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about how God left Saul and how Saul then went to go see a medium. So if you're interested in this topic, then stay tuned. Okay guys, so this is a very disturbing topic. Before today, I did not realize that this had happened, but I feel like us as the body of Christ really need to know about this. Of course, I'm not glorifying this and we should not glorify this, but I believe that us as believers, we should know this. We need to know this because of spiritual warfare. We need to know about this because this is a real thing. If this happened in the Bible, you already know that it's happening out on the earth right now. I'll be referencing 1 Samuel 28, okay? I'm going to go through the whole entire chapter. So if we look at the beginning of 1 Samuel 28, starting at the first verse, the Philistines were assigned to go to battle against Saul, and they also came into agreement with David to go into battle, okay? So one of the Philistines came to David and spoke to him, and David agreed, and he wanted David to be, I guess you can say, a bodyguard. So as the time was near, this troubled Saul very greatly. He became afraid and he did not know what to do. And also during this time, let's remember that Samuel had died. He had recently died, okay? And Samuel was a prophet during this time. So Samuel was the prophet that had anointed both Saul and David. So he anointed David to be king, which David later became. And once the people had said that they wanted a king, they wanted a physical king, on earth, a human being, someone other than God to be their king. And that's how Saul became king. All right. And Samuel is the prophet that anointed David to become king. So let's keep that in mind. Samuel was a faithful servant to the Lord, a faithful prophet of God. Okay. And he had died during this time. Also during this time, let's also remember that Saul had banned mediums from the land. So he had banned everybody that was coming in contact or that had the ability to come into contact with the dead during this time. I also feel like this is a good topic to talk about since we have Halloween coming up, and that type of activity will be going forth, and other activity of the like or of the sort will be going on too as well. And if you don't know what mediums are a form of a psychic that communicates with the dead. They have the ability to come in contact or to communicate with the dead. So he had banned these people from doing these activities. Most of us know what happened to Saul, but at first Saul was a person that did love the Lord, that did serve the Lord, that was obedient to the Lord in the beginning. But we're going to dive into where he had began to go wrong. Okay. We know that he's about to go into battle with his team or his army against the Philistines and David. This frightens Saul because he doesn't know what to do. He, I'm guess what's going through his head is that he's going to lose, and he's frightened, okay? He tries to go to the Lord during this time, but the Lord did not respond to him, okay? The Lord had left from him. And we're going to get into that soon too about why the Lord left from him. Everybody should know that. But yet the Lord had left from Saul. So he was not able to speak with the Lord or get answers from the Lord. So the Lord would not speak to Saul. He would not send any dreams down to him. And he will also not use any of the prophets to speak to Saul. So he had no form of communication to get advice from anyone. Once Saul realized this, okay, he realized that God wasn't going to help him during his time of need. He then decided to consult his advisors, and he asked his advisors to find him a medium. And the advisors told him that there was a medium in Endor, Endor. So that's where they went to go find the medium. Saul then decided to disguise himself as just a plain Jane person. So he put on some really laid back clothing, if you will. He wore just ordinary clothing and not his kingly attire, okay? None of his attire that he would normally wear as king, he did not wear it, okay? He wanted to disguise himself and make himself look like someone else that he was not, and just look like a regular person so that he can get these answers from the medium. Because remember that mediums were banned. So if this medium found out that it was Saul, this person would be afraid to do so, would feel that they're being deceived and that they would get killed, and all of these things. So I guess he figured if he would dress like a regular person, he had a higher chance of getting the answers, and that the person, who knows all the things that he thought, but he decided to disguise himself. So once he then met up with the woman, he eventually told her what he wanted. So he told her that he was looking to call up someone from the dead, and they were going into conversation, and she was a little frightened because she knew that she was banned from doing this and that other people of the sort was banned from doing this. She also thought that it was a setup, that somebody was out to get her and deceive her. So to get her to trust him, Saul, and to believe him that she's not being deceived, she's not going to get into any trouble, Saul went out of his way to take an oath. He took an oath in the name of the Lord. So once the woman became more comfortable with him, she asked who did he want to call up from the dead, and he said Samuel. Once Samuel was called up, he was able to be reached. Saul then fell to the ground. He fell to the ground because of the glory, okay? Samuel then responded and asked Saul, "Why have you disturbed me by calling me back?" And after that, Saul responded to him and told him why, okay, that he needed advice, he needed answers. He told him that he's going to be going to battle soon and he wanted some advice in a nutshell. And let's keep this in mind. Let's remember, I know I said this before, but I want you guys to stay on track. I don't want you guys to forget. Let's remember that Saul cannot get in contact with the Lord. Saul cannot communicate with the Lord. The Lord had cut him off, okay? All right, if we go down to 1 Samuel 28:16, then we'll see that Samuel did not give him any answers. Instead, he said this: "Why ask me, since the Lord has left you and has become your enemy?" The Lord has done just as he said he would. He has torn the kingdom from you and given it to your rival David. The Lord has not done this to you today because you refuse to carry out his fierce anger against the Amalekites. So remember, I told you guys we were going to see why he was not able to commune with the Lord, why the Lord had turned from him, and this is the reason why he did not carry out the work of the Lord with the Amalekites. And then Samuel also goes to say this: "What's more, the Lord will hand you and the army of Israel over to Israel, over to the Philistines tomorrow, and you and your sons will be here with me." So with Samuel is dead. Okay, so keep that in mind. You're going to die during this battle is basically what Samuel is saying from the dead. The Lord, the Lord will bring down the entire army of Israel in defeat. This is what Samuel is saying to Saul. And then 20:20, this had, in a nutshell, this had caused Saul to fall face down to the ground, and he was basically paralyzed with fear. So this, he already fell to his face in the beginning when he first came in contact with Samuel, but after this, after getting this big warning and even prophecy, he's even prophesying while he's with the Lord, while he's not even in human being form anymore. God is still using him. He became afraid. He fell on the ground in the beginning, but this time he fell face down to the ground, and he was then paralyzed with fear. So he could not even get up. He fell face down and he was stuck there. He could not get up. That's how frightening that was. Um, that's how powerful the word was and how frightening it was, okay? So this is all of 1 Samuel 28. All right, we must not play with God, okay? And we need to be obedient to the Lord, okay? And just know that God is the highest power. There's no power higher than the Lord. And you can't escape the Lord, okay? So if the Lord tells you something and he puts something in place, know that there's no way around it. Saul tried to find a way around it, but he could not find a way around it. He thought that he would, contacting that person, contacting that woman, but it did not prosper. It did not prosper. So just know that the Lord is the highest authority. He's the highest power. As long as we are obedient to him and we stay plugged into him, he will never leave us or forsake him. So make sure that when you hear the Lord speak, be obedient. Always seek the Lord. If you're having trouble in the area, pray to him, seek him, ask him what you to do. Let him know how you're feeling during a time. Never turn from the Lord. Your relationship with the Lord is the most important thing you can ever have. It's the most valuable thing. It's the most treasurable thing. All right, you guys. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that this brought a little bit of knowledge to you all. And be steadfast. Okay, you guys, stay encouraged. All right, keep obeying the Lord, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye bye.